for one of his songs, Pretty Young Thing, PYT. He heard every little layer in his head, and it's exactly what we hear, which is insane. He planned it out just like.
So hello, welcome to the Raj podcast. This is obviously your host Raj. We've got a very special guest today, a very talented singer slash songwriter, Lexi. How are you today, first of all?
Really good. I'm just super happy to be here, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be interviewed by you. So yeah.
Yeah, and a big up to who's in charge of the interviews. Who emailed me? I think I can't remember the person's name.
Oh yes,
Uh,
my manager.
Your manager.
Yeah.
So big up to the manager who's made it happen. So big up to the manager because they've emailed me and they've communicated with me. So big up to them. And yeah, so I mean I thought when I checked your website, which we will mention in a second.
Yeah.
I'll bring you up on here. I've got it on here as well. So we'll mention that as well. This is the official website here. So this is a website. So do check it out. It's very detailed. Tells her all about what she does in a music journey, and also you can listen to some of her music on there. Her latest music is on there, which we will talk about. But on there, but how did you? I read on a website, which is very fascinating, that
Okay.
someone who's a toddler who's 4 years old is interested in music. How did
Yeah.
that happen? How did you get interested in music?
Yeah, so I was really introverted and shy as a kid. And
Hmm.
music for me was that main escape because here in Washington, it rains a lot. That's where I'm from, the Seattle area.
Wow.
And personally, I hate the rain. I still hate the rain to this day. So it gave me the excuse to just go inside my room, start to sing Mariah Carey songs that were playing on the radio, or Nelly Furtado or Gwen Stefani or Ashanti, all the artists that I really loved
Mm.
listening to. And that propelled my love for music. But I was still really shy. So my mom, she actually pushed me to do elementary school plays, and that cultivated my love for performing on stage and interacting with the audience. So yeah, that was the kickstart to my passion now.
Yeah, you've been inspired by lots of 80s legends, and they are legends, are they? I mean, Mariah Carey, she's a legend.
Love.
Um, I know I think she's had a part to play in how the music happened in the 80s. She had a big part to play, I would say. And then obviously, not forgetting another legend, Whitney Houston, another one.
Love her.
Uh,
Yeah, rest in peace to her. Just
yeah, definitely rest in peace.
yeah.
We were all sad when that happened because I remember the film The Bodyguard and everything and the music. It was great. It was proper amazing stuff what she did. But that is the reason why when I listen to your music,
Mm,
you can feel the 80s vibe in the music.
mm,
Is that like a proper effort to make sure it's like a 80s kind of a vibe? Um,
yeah.
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, my parents literally played 80s, 90s music in the house. My dad would be the one to play more soulful stuff like Mariah Carey or Al Green or Robin Thicke, George Michael. My mom would play like Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and all those prominent 80s artists. So
Wow.
naturally, yeah, so naturally that influenced the way that I would just start listening to music and would sing and make my music now. And 80s pop, I feel like will forever be ingrained in me and also in my music. Not just the music that I have now, but the music I have will be having in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you mentioned MJ,
Mhm.
which obviously he's known as obviously MJ, it's like when I spoke to people when I was working near this cafe, and I used to, when I mentioned MJ, and you wouldn't think they listen to MJ, and even they listen to MJ, and
Yeah.
it's like across not just UK, Caucasian, Asians, everyone used to listen to it growing up, which is
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing to be to an artist to not be in one particular you know people who are listening to his music. It's everywhere. It's across the, that's amazing. That is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Michael Jackson, he touches just so many people's hearts and
Mm,
tugs at people's just he's just so relatable as an artist because he's very authentic. I don't think anyone else can
mm,
ever do what he ever did to carve that path of
exactly
life.
right.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
I feel like his I remember I watched one interview of him in the early 80s and he was like, "Oh, I can hear all of the how all of the sounds are going to be produced for one of his songs, Pretty Young Thing, PYT." He heard every little layer in his head, and it's exactly what we hear, which is insane. He planned it out just like, and I thought that's just very musically intelligent of him, and to gift that type of music to us, to our world. I think it's awesome that we can still hear
Yeah.
his legacy through his
I,
music.
I think, like some people, I think you probably agree with this. Some people, some artists, once they go, because obviously we all know everybody's gonna go. We're all temporary visitors, are we? So, so whenever that is, and
Mhm.
obviously MJ probably knew that himself at one point.
Yeah,
But but whatever he did, and how the media's tried to compare him with other artists, which I thought was a bit, which was ridiculous, because you can't
yeah,
compare MJ with anybody. He's
no,
number one, and
yeah.
he'll always stay number one. So you can't compare him. There's no
Yeah, I
comparison.
mean, he did everything, he the famous
Yeah,
moonwalk,
pretty.
dance, produce, sing, write his own music. And also I heard
Mm,
he's just a very pure person, like a very kind human being. And I feel like there's so much misunderstanding that not just him, but a lot of artists get to in the media, about their character. Yeah,
exactly. We're good at judging people, judging on a book by its cover, and
absolutely.
the media did that as well, didn't they? They were guilty of doing that.
Yeah.
And when I see Johnny Jackson, I see a little bit of
Yeah.
MJ there, like the way she speaks. Um,
Yeah, they're very similar because I heard they're very
yeah,
close growing up. And
very
it's funny,
close. Yeah, very close. Yeah,
I actually saw Janet Jackson in concert with my mom, and it was amazing. I saw her a year ago, and for me as an artist, I'm always trying to study like how are they, like why are they doing this type of lighting for their show, or why are they singing this exact type of way? Why are they putting these songs in that exact order? And Janet Jackson actually really inspired a lot of my song "You Got Me." If you listen
yeah.
to that one, yeah. So that concert really like inspired me to just make that song.
We're
Yeah.
gonna come back. We're gonna come back in your music, because we're gonna talk about your music. But I just wanted to mention one thing that
Sure.
which amazed me as well when I watched the Tom Cruise interview, when he goes, "I'm a big I'm a big fan of Janet Jackson,"
Mm,
and he went there as well. He goes there as well to her concerts, and he goes, he was like a fanboy in front of, even though he's such a superstar. Everybody knows he's such a superstar.
yeah.
Uh, but he was like a fanboy in front of her, So it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy when I saw that. I'm like, but I guess that does happen with certain artists. You're like, if you're a fan of them, it doesn't matter how big you are yourself.
Mhm.
Um, if you're a fan of somebody, then you're a fan of them, are you really? So yeah,
Yeah, because when you say that you look up to somebody, you literally look up to them. You really see them as like more
yeah.
skillers above you. So I am exactly on the same page as Tom Cruise. Like, even though yes, he is a huge star and he has a lot of
He
accolades.
doesn't. He doesn't act that way, does he? Though, if you see Tom
No,
Cruise interviews, he doesn't act like a superstar.
he's very friendly,
Yeah,
very kind.
exactly.
Yeah, and I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that
That's
should
what.
be the bare minimum for anybody who's famous. Like, you just have to have
Mm.
good sense of kindness and treating people right because the media will, if they catch one little thing that you've done that's not very kind, they're just going to blow it out of proportion. So
Oh yeah.
it's like that fine line when you're famous, like You have to be good, but not be too good to the point where people think
Mm.
you're perfect. It's just like that tightrope that a lot of famous people have to walk on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when coming back to your music,
Yeah.
um, when you were four and you started, obviously you were listening to music and stuff, but
Hmm.
when did you get to that age where you said, okay, I want to do this as a profession?
As a profession, age 4. The same age.
Seriously,
Yeah.
seriously.
Even though I was like, my mom and dad be like, you need to sing in front of your aunties, your family, and
Mm.
I'd be like, no, but I knew in my heart this is always what I've wanted to do. But I had to work on my self-esteem. I had to improve my just getting out of my shell. And huge shout out to my mom for making me do plays every year because I actually fell in love with that. And I also had to push myself at age 12 to do my very first performance of Walking in a Winter Wonderland. And I remember I wasn't even nervous. I
Oh,
just went for it. So, process for me for sure.
yeah. Is it, and did you need guidance from anyone to know exactly, okay, because obviously four is a very, it's like a toddler age, isn't it? It's like very small.
Yeah.
um so I mean, how long did it take you where you could, write your own music and you could experiment and you could get to that stage where you could release your music? How long did it take?
I mean, I actually didn't start writing my own music until I was 18. And which is crazy because I wrote my first song at age 7 about that dichotomy of being shy, but also like wanting people to see me. So,
Hmm.
but it wasn't any good. I was 7 years old. So I just made up
Yes.
melodies in my head. But my dad, I remember he saw that I was so passionate about learning the piano. I was watching videos every day on YouTube on how to learn pop music and just
Yeah.
compose melodies. And my dad's like, why don't you just start writing your own music, your own lyrics? And I was like, oh, wait, that's a good idea. So the entire summer, I wrote like 20 songs. Some of them were good, some of them were not. And that's how it led to my first single, Floating on Air. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you wrote this yourself? You wrote it yourself all?
Yes, I did.
And so how did you, like, um, think, okay, because how old did you say you were?
When I first started writing like music seriously, 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so you 18, and then how did you decide, okay, do I need anyone to help me with my music, or like
Mm.
now you got a manager, but what about when you were 18? Did you have somebody there at that time?
No, not really. I was just doing it on my own for a little while. And it's funny because I didn't even know as an independent artist how to release my own music on
Mm.
Spotify. I wasn't aware of that type of marketing side of music. And Floating on Air, it happened on accident because I sang actually on Thanksgiving, I sang All by Myself by Celine Dion. And my cousin,
Wow.
yeah, my cousin posted that on her story, and then her music producer friend was like, "Hey, I checked out your YouTube playlist of your original music, and I love Floating on Air." And then he was telling me how to release my music, and I didn't feel ready at the time. I didn't know how to do that. But then I just chose in that moment to be open minded about it. So I'm really glad in that moment that I did, because otherwise I would have waited until later. But it was like a happy accident for me.
Okay. And where did you create this music? You created it in your own house, in your own room, or how do you do it?
Yeah. So Um, I record the vocals in my own recording studio at home.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a lot easier. I don't have the pressure to pay per hour in a studio. I can just do it in
Yeah, that's
my
true.
own
That's
house.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as for the production side of my music, I either work with music producers virtually or I just meet up at their studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
And So, what are the pressures of being independent? Because when you're independent, you have to do everything yourself. When I speak to music artists, which obviously I speak to a lot of music artists, because uh, obviously that's what we do on the podcast. We want to bring as many talented artists, and obviously, uh, so how did you what do you think are the challenges of being independent rather than assigned to a particular label? Um, and is it more? Do you have to like work even twice as harder? Do you think?
It's a great question. I think the big main denominator and difference is budget. It's
Hmm.
huge because obviously I have to pay music producers for their service, for their time to make my songs. And I have
Right.
to budget enough for social media marketing if I want to post Instagram ads, or if I want to, it even takes money to drive to the studio or go to networking events. So budget is a huge difficulty for me, but I don't let that hold me back. I will do whatever possible to be successful. But another constraint that's difficult for me as an independent artist is trying to network more, because I feel like if you're signed, they already give you your team, your makeup artist, your marketing team, your music video director. I have to go literally be independent as an independent artist and go search out for those people myself, or thankfully with the help of my manager. Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean because if you if you look at you seem very determined even at the 18, because
Yeah.
some people don't even know what they're doing at 18, even like myself. Like, shall I
Yeah.
be this, shall I be this kind of a person, this profession, that profession? You were determined, you want to do this full time, but when you started off, how hard was it to do it full time though, the
Mm.
income and everything, the financial aspect of it?
I mean, it's funny because when I released Floating in Air, I was also working part-time at my college as an event planner, so that actually helped
Oh,
support my music career. Yes, because I also got
fantastic.
my bachelor's in marketing, and the only reason I got that was to help, like, how to strategize and market my music.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah, that's actually a good idea. Actually, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Event planning is very good actually, even for a music artist, because you could even pick up some stuff from being event planner as well, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah, I mean, event planning has taught me a lot because
Mm.
my team, we planned a concert, and that helped me from my perspective of, oh, how can I plan my own show in the future where I'm from in the Seattle area. So, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and yeah. So let's. I don't even know which music to talk about really, because you've released so much material. But let's.
Yeah.
But so how? Obviously we can't discuss every single music because that would be there's lots of music which you've released. We'll talk about the new music, but first of all, how many singles have you released and EPs so far?
Singles, I've released 7 singles so far, but currently I'm actually working on my EP. So, yeah,
7 singles, and that's in the space of since you were 18.
18, and I'm now 24. Yeah. But I'm planning to release way more. I feel like this is the year to have way more music, so I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's just that's absolutely that's amazing. 7 singles already. And what's your inspiration? And when you're creating this music, is it like a story? Is it based on your own life? How do you do it?
A lot of it, I feel like for songwriting to me, it's basically a diary of what I've been through in that moment. So, for example, in Floating in Air, I was so happy to start college. It was a fresh new beginning for me, and I felt really confident around that time, and so that's why Floating in Air became the song that it is. It's about loving yourself and being authentic. My song "You Got Me" is the only song where I did it from my own imagination. It wasn't even from my real life. And it's about just seeing somebody attractive at a party and they give you butterflies. And I've never experienced that. still to
Mm.
this day. But it was
Uh,
something I was like, ooh, I think everybody's experienced having a crush on somebody and just getting a little nervous. So yeah, a lot of it's based off of my own experiences. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. And you also featured on the, if I'm not wrong, which I think I saw on the website, on the Glamour magazine, is it?
Yeah, that was really fun. I that was very life-changing for me. So I really liked this singer named Tiffany, and she's from this K-pop group named Girls' Generation. They're considered like legendary status, like Whitney, Mariah in South Korea.
Hmm.
And somebody from Glamour magazine was like, "Hey Lexi, I heard that you're a fan of Tiffany. We'd love to interview you for an article in our magazine." But intuitively, deep down inside, I had a feeling that Tiffany reacted to my singing cover. And then the next day, the Glamour staff, Marla, was like, "Oh, can you put your phone on so you can record yourself?" She sends me a video of Tiffany, and Tiffany reacted to my singing cover. And I was just so happy. I was like, I can't believe somebody that I'm a fan of watched me. And my,
Yeah,
yeah, which is crazy.
yeah, and she's a very big, isn't she? She's in South Korea.
Huge K pop. Yeah.
K-pop. Oh, I've heard of her. Yeah, I've heard of her. Even though I don't. I've unfortunately not listened to much music recently, but I've heard of her as well. So
Yeah.
that she's very very big. Yeah. And you've been influenced a lot by the um, a lot of these these types of music. So what would you class yourself as? Is it what genre would you say yours is?
I know this may sound generic, but I do have a reason for it. I do class myself as a pop artist, and the reason why I classify myself as that is because I'm not afraid to explore different genres and blend them.
Wow.
80s pop, R&B, rock, even though I don't have a rock singing style, I love the electric guitar. That's one of my favorite instruments to put in a song. I love listening to Vietnamese pop. So if I can add some of my culture in there to represent not just me but other Vietnamese people out there, that'd be great. Hip hop, maybe a little bit of like folk. Yeah, I that's why I would call myself a pop artist. I'm not afraid to step outside of the bounds.
Hmm. That's it. That's it. That's very interesting. The way you said that. Yeah, that you mix a lot of your music and stuff, and so on your recording studio, you got everything covered, I guess. Then, so you can create the music yourself, everything.
Yeah, for that, I actually, if I write a new song, I'll create a demo. So I'll play the
Hmm.
piano on Ableton Live 10, and then I'll record
Right.
my raw vocal over it. So I already have a set folder demo. So if a music producer and I are working together, I can just send it to him and he can start producing around my vocals.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great. And what about? I mean, there was. I think there were some rumors. We know back in the days. I think you'll probably remember this when
yeah.
CDs was a massive thing.
I
Um,
love CDs. I grew
CDs,
up
yeah,
on,
exactly. I
yeah,
know. And there was a rumor that CDs were coming back, but obviously, I don't know how big they are. Obviously, we heard about the big records coming back, and they came back, didn't they? Um, the
mhm,
the vinyls, sorry, the vinyls, yeah,
yeah,
they
yep.
came back. They came back big, as well. So, I mean, do you think that it will come back in a big way? The CDs, where recording artists will be able to release CDs and even earn something from them.
Yeah, I think absolutely because I feel like these days there's so many artists that just drop singles, hundreds of singles every day for people to consume.
Hmm.
And I remember Beyonce in one interview was like, people don't really appreciate listening to a full body of work like an album because the purpose
Hmm.
of an album is to illustrate the artist story, their ups and downs from beginning to end. So for example, like Sabrina Carpenter or Chappell Roan or Charlie XCX, people loved listening to their body of work, their albums from top to bottom. They didn't skip one song. They weren't just like, oh, I like this one song. at least from what I've observed from my generation on TikTok.
Mm.
So I feel like
Yeah.
CDs and vinyls are making that big comeback, and I feel like as they should, because if our generation is just reliant on Spotify or just online services, which are great as well, not dismissing them at all,
Mm.
there's just something that is so resonant and so positive about putting your CD in the CD player or putting your
Yeah,
vinyl.
exactly. Like,
It's different.
it's a total. Yeah, you're right, because it's a total. When I used to put CDs in, and whether that's the Whitney Houston CD, or all the MJs and every others,
Yeah.
and putting the CD in, the feeling, or the vinyl, the feeling was totally different to listening a digital. It's not the same, is it really?
No, it's not. And I feel like you could just hear the purity. Like I love when you put in the CD and the CD put, you can hear the CD spin. I just like
Yeah,
that. It's part of the experience of
yeah,
listening to a song that you like, or vinyl when you can like see it
yeah,
like physically spin. So because I feel like when you listen to a song online, you just click on it and then you just kind of see the artist's cover art, but
yeah.
it takes away from the organic experience a little bit for the listener.
It does, because
Yeah.
even when I purchase it digitally, I listen to the music, but I don't get the. I like the music. I like the artist, but I don't get the same kind of the same vibe which you get with the CD or the vinyl. You don't get the same thing happening to, and it's a total a different thing, and. So this year, so you released a couple of music, you were saying before,
Yeah.
that you released a couple. Tell us about the music, and how did those how did you get to releasing the singles?
Yeah. So for Fever, I was 16. It was in Vietnam. My dad met a music producer named Ben. Ben was
Wow.
like, "Hey, I like your daughter's voice." I sang a cover of Hopelessly Devoted to You from Greece, very popular musical. And a couple months later, I flew out to Vietnam with the rest of my family, got to meet Ben. And he asked, "What did you want for Fever?" And I said, something that's really emotional, but something that's upbeat with like 80s pop. I was very like adamant about that. And he's like, "Okay, sure." Next day, I'm in the studio with him. We write Fever. And when you hear Fever, it's about needing other people to lean on if you're going through a hard time. And then for my song If Only, I worked on that with Anthem Tracks. That's a John Moo Davis. He's a producer from Seattle. And it's pretty much about my experience of feeling heartbroken over seeing this guy move on with somebody new and having those feelings of regret. And I was influenced by We Can't Be Friends by Ariana Grande, a little bit of 80s pop as well, some violin and strings that you hear and piano. And that's a very upbeat and vulnerable song. So that was really fun to make and record at Anthem Studio.
Yeah, I'm sure that definitely was. I mean, some people just started music when they're 20 21. You already started it when you were 18.
Yeah.
So you have obviously a long career ahead of you with music, being a music artist. And what do you think? I mean, what kind of reaction have you had since you released your music from your fans, and from the radio stations and other places?
Yeah, my fans, they really all of my fans love Fever. They always say
Yeah.
that's their favorite. A lot of people say that song is a standout. And it is also one of my favorites, even though I'm proud of all of the music that I have. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I have another song called Being and Becoming, and a lot of the Vietnamese community here in Seattle is like, "Oh, I loved how you represented the Vietnamese culture and that narrative so well." And let's see, I got interviewed actually by R.O. Collins from iHeartRadio, and he really loved Fever and my song If Only, and he was praising how powerful my voice was, which I really appreciated a lot. And my fans also really love my song That Kind of Love because it's about being single and wondering if that special somebody's going to come into your life, but also knowing at the same time that you're worthy and enough. So my fans really love that my music's very empowering. I always go to that positive and optimistic place with my music, whether that's being more vulnerable and sad, but there's a resolution to that, or embracing who you are and being authentically you, which is, I know it's said a lot, but it rings true.
And can your fans purchase your music on your website?
Yeah, they can. I think if they saw earlier in the podcast, there's my website at LexiNguyen.com. They can also see my blogs that I do of my music journey. They can be updated of upcoming performances and new music, and follow me on TikTok, Instagram, check me out on Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok is one thing I'll never figure out.
Oh,
But
really? Yeah.
I'll never figure. It's just one of those things because I'm not really a social media person. But
Mm,
as a music artist, I understand you have to be on social media these days. It's just you can't be a music artist without being on social media. It's just not gonna happen.
yeah.
You have to be on it, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, all of it. Um, X. I'm still getting used to saying X, but there you go.
I don't actually don't have Twitter, that, or gosh, X? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm about to call it
it's hard.
Twitter.
It's hard to say it. Even now, I find it hard to say X. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I have
so
Threads. There's Instagram Threads. That's literally a knockoff
yes,
of
threads.
X.
Yeah, threads. Yes, there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, so do check it out and do go on to her website. It's very detailed. You can purchase her music there. Any planned tours and this year?
Not yet, because I'm more focused on making my EP and just staying creative indoors. But I recently formed my own band, so that's
Oh,
gonna
fantastic.
elevate my live performances. So just make sure to check out my website for more. Yeah.
Yeah, do check out the website, and if there is any tours, it will be posted on there, and you can also, I'm sure they can check your socials on your website as well. The links.
Yes, I have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Those are my main four. But I'm also on Threads too, even though I'm more low key there. Yeah.
And you manage your own social media
Yes,
pages?
yes, I do. If somebody else says that would be possible, but right now I feel like I want to take more creative control and ownership for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose you have that interaction with the fans, and if you had someone take control of it, then you would have that one-to-one with the fans. Yeah,
Yeah, it wouldn't be organic. They'd be like, this isn't
organic. Yeah.
something Lexi. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure your career is going to go even higher. I mean, you already achieved so much already in this short space of time. Like I said earlier before we came on air, that I've listened to Fever myself, and it's awesome, definitely awesome. And
Thank you so
do
much.
check it out. Do check it out if you haven't listened to it. Do check it out. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do. So you can actually find my YouTube channel on my artist website. And I actually have
Awesome.
a music video of Floating in Air and all of my other music as well. So make sure to check it out as well. All of those were really fun to make. Yeah.
So you have the music videos for the singers as well.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
great, great.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, do check it out on the YouTube channel. The link is on the website. So do check it out. And we'll put it on the description as well for you. So you can go onto the website via our description on the video. Do check it out and do obviously check out her music. The music is really good and it'll get you back into those 80s feeling,
Yes.
which which everybody, even if they don't admit it, they all like the 80s music. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's one of
Um,
the best decades,
it
obviously.
was, it was definitely one of the
Yeah.
best decades for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely because there were so many memorable music coming out one by one
Yeah.
on there. But yeah, I mean, what about the digital space? Because like you said, all the music it's all digital.
Yeah.
How do you create your own niche? So you're separate from other artists. How do you do that?
Great question. My manager and I, we talk about this all the time, how to brand myself. Well, first of all, I'm wearing one of my brand colors. It's pink.
Oh,
Pink. My background's pink. And so a lot of the videos that you see are my TikTok or Reels or Shorts. I tend to do the pink background. My logo is in pink and in cursive because that
wow.
illustrates my classy, calm, but like confident personality. And then I put in like little tidbits of purple, which is another brand color, which looks like you have purple as well. So that's very fitting. Um,
Mm,
and
yeah,
I I just show up as me. I mean, I love talking about astrology or spirituality or my music or Hello
awesome.
Kitty. This is why she's with me today for the podcast. Just showing up as myself. I think that's the most important thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as so much competition and so many artists coming every day. It's good to have to be a bit different, like you said. Yeah, and have your own identity, your brand, like you have. And your brand is about overcoming. I can see on the website overcoming obstacles
Yeah. Yeah.
on that. So what's this? How did you come out with that? Your brand is to overcome obstacles. Did you have to overcome obstacles yourself as well?
Yes, a ton. I felt like as a kid because I'm the oldest of three kids in my family and
Hmm.
I have two younger brothers, so I had to be that example and leader for them growing up. I had to be put together. I had to be responsible, right? Be the oldest, do the right thing. And so but that caused a lot of internal struggle and challenges and the struggle to be vulnerable, but when I, started writing songs and stayed more in touch with my emotions and my creativity, that gave me that outlet. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did your family think when you released your first music and you said it's released? What did they think?
They were all insanely supportive and also
Yeah.
surprised because I think still to this day I tend to be very private about my moves. I think it's a common quote to be like, "Don't tell people what you're doing, just do it, and then
Hmm.
release it and don't tell any people ahead of time what you're doing." So my mom, she's like, "Wow, you look so much like me in the floating in our music video. That's crazy. You're like my twin." And my mom, she's so supportive. She sent it to a million of my aunties, which are basically her friends, and um, just blowing up her Facebook and Instagram saying, "This is my daughter." And then my dad, he's more introverted, a little more like he keeps it humble, but he tells people, "Yeah, my daughter, she sings a little bit." But so shout out to my mom and dad. They're very supportive, and I know they're going to be watching this. So if I don't shout them out, I'm going to get in big trouble. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, and a big shout out to them, and a big shout out, like I said, to your manager for making this happen.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to release any music? Or you were saying there you're releasing your EP. Is that coming out this year?
We'll see. I'm in the early stages of planning my EP. We just finished one song for it. So definitely I'm aiming probably by the end of this year or early next year around next spring. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be on there, and obviously, the woman, not forgetting our website, which is obviously on our website, which is the Woman Agenda Podcast, which is our former name.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's the right podcast now. So, the womanagenda podcast.com. This will be uploaded on there as well. If you want to check it out, you'll be able to listen to it on there. And also, if you're driving out and about, you don't have to worry because you don't have to watch this. You can listen to it as well because we will put it on all Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. It will be available for you guys to listen to on there as well. But yeah, first of all, thank you for coming and taking time out. I know music artists are very busy. After speaking to them, I know it's not a 9 to 5 job. I know it's 24/7.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I'm surprised music artists are able to sleep nice and peacefully at nighttime.
I mean, I have to, especially as a singer. Like, if you are tired, your vocals are going to be tired too. And
That's true.
you're
That's
not going
true.
to perform at your best if you have a gig the next.
Yeah,
So I have to sleep.
you have
Yeah,
to sleep. Yeah, at least.
have to. Even though
Yeah.
like tonight, I'll actually be recording another song for my EP, like the vocals, and that takes at least 3 to 5 hours. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a, like you said, it's a 24/7 for us, but we do it because we love it. So it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And what time is it down there?
In Seattle area, it's 1:53 p.m.
Seattle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got some family in Texas. So.
Oh, no way. Yeah, I have some family in Texas too. In Houston
Mm.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, so because I know what I've not obviously been there, but hopefully I will be there soon. But I've heard that when it's warm, it's crazy warm weather. But
Oh,
it's
in
really
here in
Texas,
Seattle.
yeah,
Oh,
Texas, yeah.
Texas too. Yeah, Texas. One of my friends from Texas, he told me it went up to like 100 degrees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I heard. That's what I've
Yeah.
heard. Yeah,
Hmm.
in on the but yeah, we're in the UK. We're still suffering from weather which is going up and down like.
Mm.
It's changing every day, to be honest. But it's because we're in March, I guess. It's not proper summer yet.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, so yes, so thank you for coming on and wishing you lots of success for your EP and for your music single. And I'm sure it's going to be a big success, and I'm sure we will later down the line bring you back on. I'm sure that will happen as well.
Yeah, that
Uh,
would be awesome. Yeah, Rob,
yeah.
thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. This is my third podcast I've done, or no, fourth podcast I've done this month, and
Wow,
and
great.
yeah, really grateful for this opportunity. And
Thank you very
my
much.
manager and I will make sure to. We've been featuring a lot of people's podcasts and adding their information because your platform deserves to have growth as well and um, attend notoriety. So yeah, just really grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, and all the best. Thank you very much.